Hello, today is June 2nd. I thought I would do an overview for June, combining the depth of intuition with the astrology charts that I've been examining. This is a strong month for all of us. We will have a solar eclipse on the 10th of June. On the 14th of June, we will have a strong square between Saturn and Uranus. And on the 21st of June, 22nd of June, Mercury will finally turn direct. It is now retrograde in Gemini. So I wanted to think deeply about what was the main energetic overview of the month. My name is Eliza DeVries. I am a medium. I am an evolutionary astrologer, an artist, and a healer. So in all aspects of my life, I work with vibration of one sort or another. When you think about an astrology chart, it is reflecting the impact of an energy configuration in each moment of the day. And how does that energy configuration sit on top of your natal chart, which was your initial stamp by the universe when you were born? So that is what the moment by moment is called the transit, what is moving in the heavens at this moment. Your natal chart is the stationary beginning, the imprint that you received that will set up the contract you made for your entire life. Within the natal chart, you will find tremendous messages of why you chose the mother and father you chose, the family you chose, the siblings you chose, why death visited you at certain periods of your life, what was the deeper intention and purpose of that loss, or when you lost your home, your job, your mate, what was that all about, and how was it energetically impacted by astrological transits? For example, in my chart, it was shown that when I would be 4 to 5 years old, I would have an exact square between my moon in Pisces, mother, square Saturn, desolation, loss, loneliness in Gemini. So I had a direct, impactful square to my natal moon by transiting Saturn at that time. And that was the time when my mother left home, and I literally did go through an isolation which was to last throughout my entire childhood. So if you looked at it from a positive perspective, you look at that square and you think, well, why did I choose to go through that isolating loss of my mother at that time? Just 1 second, I gotta take care of a doggy here. Andre, are you outside? Could you take care of Seisha? He's barking a lot. Thank you. So, with what is perceived as a situation that would be very painful, cause a lot of suffering, and a feeling of insecurity, bring up abandonment issues, etc., etc. Looking at Moon Square Saturn. I ultimately, through years of introspection and raising my own children and helping to raise or give advice to counseling to other people's children, I realized that my passion for motherhood, my passion to give to children, to be there for my own children, was greatly intensified by the knowing of what that feeling was to be without a mother. So that at a soul level, there was a strong impact on my soul to heal that deep abandonment wound. So what happened in my life, over and over and over, I went through abandonment. My abandonments coming through death, people leaving suddenly. So I had the loss of 3 mates, 1 stepchild, 1 natural child. Over and over and over, I had to face that letting go and finding within the consolation and the comfort of the internal love of God and of my fellow souls on this earth and souls on the other side. And it actually turned into a positive because I became a medium. I started to converse with the other side, to hear their messages. They showed me their lives. And ultimately, what had caused me great suffering ended up bringing forth great consolation and understanding and giving comfort to others through the messages of their spouses, parents, and children that they, or friends that they had lost in this life, to be able to make that connection. So you can see how all of our suffering is ultimately very difficult to discern in the moment, in the painful time, that it will eventually turn into a gift if we seek within for the deeper understanding of why that was a soul intention that we experience that in this lifetime. So I look at June and I say, well, what is the comfort? Because the card I got in June is that people are going through the need for a lot of personal comfort, a lot of personal, when I drew the Mother Mary card, it said, Our Lady of Comfort brings you peace. If you've ever wondered if the divine is more real than you ever believed, if you have been in conscious divine connection, the oracle of Our Lady confirms this. If you've been having the opposite experience, finding it difficult, and many of us have been finding it difficult to feel lightness or joy or happiness for some time, or finding it hard to meditate or to connect with ourselves or our spiritual center. There's this month, with it being ruled by Gemini, which is a Mercury ruled planet, and Mercury being retrograde at this time in Gemini, I like to think of Gemini not just as the twins, the alter ego, but of the actual coming together of the interior and exterior of our own being. So this is an opportunity to converse with our inner being and to actually gain deep meditative answers and intuitive responses to what we're facing in the outer world. And also to be very conscious of our communication at this time, and to let that bring forth more kindness, to not just leap in with abrasive words or non-stop words, but to actually seek out the words that are coming from our inner being. Because often our first reaction to life, with all this Gemini in place, is to be mouthy and to gossip and to talk too much and to bring forth too much information. But if we draw back to the inner guidance of our inner voice and then let that carry forward into our words during the Mercury retrograde, we'll actually increase our powers of communication. So that's inner listening, words coming from someone else, and inner listening to what is the response to those words. Maybe the inner voice says, just be still and listen a bit longer. Or it has a wise, comforting message for the person you're talking to. Each moment it will be different, and your listening powers and your introspective observations can do greatly in repairing old relationships. Gemini also rules siblings. You may find that you're more in touch with siblings or thinking about your siblings and wanting to communicate. In my life, I've had 2 siblings that I've been in very deep communication with over the last week since Mercury went into retrograde. And that's been very helpful and very healing. So we've got that on the 10th of June, we've got that solar eclipse coming up. Now, eclipses usually have an impact on our lives for about 15 months. So the solar eclipse on June 10th is going to have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury retrograde, and the North Node all in Gemini, all affecting each other. Happily, Venus has moved into Cancer. So the Mercury is going to be right conjunct that Sun and Moon. So we may feel very, I would say this would be an amazing time to write in a journal the illuminating inspiration that's coming through you, because this could be a day of great mental inspiration from the divine. So write down what messages you get that day. And as with all new moons, set out your intentions for the next 15 months of your life. What are your, maybe there are ways of communication. Maybe you wish to get a job. Maybe you're writing a book or a script or wanting to communicate better. This is a great day to set that all in motion. With Venus and Mars and Cancer, we're feeling our home, our heart, our feeling nature, our past very deeply. Cancer being very connected to our past, to our inner sensitivity. Venus and Cancer feeling we may want to stick around the home. Gemini wants to pull us out and socialize, and the eclipse is being counteracted by the Venus in Cancer and the Mars in Cancer. The Mars being opposite Pluto. There's a strong inner desire to hold on to old past patterns, and Pluto saying, let it go. Clean house, literally clean your own house. You might feel the desire to really buckle down and eliminate a lot that you're carrying around in your house that you don't even look at, don't even spend time with, that is just gathering dust. So it's a really great time to pare away at what you own, what you have. On the 14th of June, this to me is the most powerful aspect of the entire month. We have the second time that there are 3 times throughout 2021 that the major transit of the year is brought into force and woken up. And this would be the Uranus being related to our future, and Saturn being related to the past. Saturn kind of more closing in and redefining things, and Uranus in Taurus wanting to break free of old loggerhead attitudes that we've just kind of hung on to and stuck with. And Saturn being in the sign of Aquarius, you've got like a double Uranian aspect going on here. It's saying get rid of old thoughts, get yourself moving. Let's break up old crystallized structures and ways of living. We're on the brink of new lives, of new ways of experiencing each other, of new ways of developing relationships with others. So it's a really great time to let go of your own rigid thought forms, fears. And a final thing this month that stands out is when Mercury turns to go retrograde on the 22nd of June. Sun has just gone into Cancer and Mercury is moving back retrograde in the afternoon of the 22nd at 16 degrees Gemini. So it's going to be still in Gemini for another couple of weeks, but it will now be moving forward out of the shadow period by the end of June. So things should feel safer. I would say with Mercury being retrograde in Gemini, unless you have commenced certain projects and signed certain documentation or before the beginning of June, that it is not really the best time to be doing closure. You could close off things you've already commenced, but I would say it would be to be really looking at documents and taking your time. And then after the end of June would be when I would consider to move forward with documentation, if possible. So June, when I I want to just take a look at what the general energy of June will be for us in our world globally. What is it that we're all going through as a society, a global society? Well, we're all feeling the earth move beneath our feet. We're all, the solar eclipse is showing up, the moon above us, moving through from that lunar eclipse, red moon, which is still affecting us. We're in a fast forward motion. And so we've gone from being introspective and isolated and solitary and being at home to all of a sudden everything is breaking loose and we're in a fast forward, and it could feel a bit jarring. My suggestion is, yes, move forward, the energies are with you, but take time for breaks to listen, because you've learned a lot over the last year with the pandemic, and now it's a time for putting into action what you've learned, not falling back into old patterns. What will be the gift of June? The gift of June will be great opportunities, cooperating with many others. Many hands make light work was the first thing I heard on this. So if you're thinking of project, if you're thinking of something that has been gestating within you, if you look here, she's holding the womb and what has been gestating within her creative self, being surrounded by orange representing the creative force. And now, how to get all that out there, how to recreate my life. Do I want the same life I had before, or do I want to start anew in another area of my life, or do I want to do what I was doing but do it in a different way? So those are going to be the things that you're thinking about. But the gift is that you will have opportunity coming to you. This is a waking up month. You know, the old song from Carousel, June is busting out all over. It feels like that. It feels like multitudinous opportunities this month. It's not a month to sit still. It's a month to get moving. And where are we heading? I'm going to do this one for the United States. What's going to happen in the United States in June? And again, all that Gemini, there's been a lot of blabbing, a lot of talking, a lot of gossiping, a lot of false news, because that Mercury has been squaring Neptune. It's been back in, it's not in a tight square, but it has been squaring Neptune. And the sun is moving up to square Neptune. There are going to be a lot of lies and false information out there. So be intelligent, use your common sense. Step back when you hear something just utterly ridiculous. Or look at your own thoughts. Have you been conned in some way in your own thoughts? Have you been falling into nonsense? Use your common sense. All that Neptune this month squaring, all that Gemini, is bringing forth a lot of deception and having to do away with the deception. And again, the Mercury square Neptune could also represent in the United States the voting rights and the negative intentions to suppress voting rights, to challenge our democracy. Gemini being the written constitution. Yeah. So it's saying, this is the card of Pythagoras. So I said, where are we heading in the United States? What do we need to keep our eyes on? We need to keep our eyes on the structure and the geometric balance of life force and thought forms. Pythagoras was a very brilliant, wise, intuitive leader. He impacted us not only geometrically, but he was a mystic. He had great writings. He affected people's inner being. He trained people. There were Pythagorean schools of wisdom. He was a wisdom teacher. So we're being asked to revert to our wisdom, to the deeper knowledge within us, not to get caught up in the nonsense. So we're being asked to move forward with intelligence, with, if you think about it, we came here to learn two things: how to love unconditionally with enormous compassion, and how to grow in wisdom. This month, the focus is on growing in wisdom. That's the message for the month. So Mercury retrograde is saying, back up in your thoughts, in your words, listen and seek out your wisdom self. And then your words will be far more impactful. They will be with integrity, with truth. And so that really is the ultimate message of June. Moving from the deception, the nonsense, to wisdom. And I'm talking about your truth, your internal wisdom, not the mob thinking. It's time for inner reflection on what we stand for individually. And the final card for today is the gift from God at this time. How magnificent. The gift of words. Words being spoken with peace. Words seeking peace. The dove, white dove, represents peace, spirit, illumined words, gentle words. The dove is the dove. It's a very symbolic, and it's also a lot to do with the mother, the dove, and looking after her chicks. And with all the blue here, there's a great sense of peace in this card. This person is speaking from a peaceful internal place. And the words that are coming out are beautifully impactful, soothing. And again, I return to that word of angelic mercy and comfort. Let's really set out a goal this month to comfort others with a very deep, compassionate heart, speaking our truth from a place of wisdom, kindness, and integrity. I'd like to end there. Thank you for staying with me through this video. I love you all so much. Thank you for your support of my channel. And if you would like a personal reading, how these solar eclipse will affect your chart over the next 15 months, please write me at angelicmercy44@gmail.com, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you. God be with you, and may we all show greater angelic mercy toward each other.